February 2025, a flotilla of 3 Chinese warships were spotted sailing down the east coast of Australia, clearly flexing the muscles of the rapidly expanding People's Liberation Army Navy, the largest navy in the world, and at one point these warships were less than 300 kilometres away from Sydney. Traditionally, the role of deterring naval threats and incursions like this would fall to the Royal Australian Navy or the Air Force. But what if the Australian Army was able to engage naval targets hundreds of kilometres offshore and blow them out of the water? This could be a possibility with one of the Australian Army's newest acquisitions, HIMARS. This has recently been made famous on the battlefields of Ukraine for helping blunt Russia's advance by delivering surgical strikes on critical Russian command posts as well as ammunition and fuel storage depots. And Australia's acquisition may also include the brand new and Australian-made Strikemaster naval defence system. But what exactly are these systems and when are we getting them? What are their capabilities and how much will they cost? I'm Pikos and today we're talking tactics. The range of the Australian Army has long been limited, with the Air Force and Navy having traditionally been expected to provide longer distance deterrence and firepower. However, this is changing in a big way with Land 8113 long-range fires. This acquisition project will add a completely new strategic capability to the Australian Defence Force, as well as revolutionising the way that the Army goes about fighting wars. The capability will be based around the M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS for short, a US-developed light multiple rocket launcher, which can fire a variety of different types of rocket artillery. Phase 2 of Land 8113 will see Australia either acquire additional HIMARS units or the locally developed Strikemaster, which is a system that fires naval strike missiles. As of the release of this video, a decision on Phase 2 hasn't yet been made by the Australian government, but it's widely understood that the Albanese government is leaning towards selecting the Strikemaster. So with that in mind, in this video, we're going to have a detailed look into both platforms and what they can do. What is HIMARS? HIMARS is a rocket artillery system. Rocket artillery came to prominence in World War II with the USSR's Katyusha series and Nazi Germany's Nebelwerfer. These were used as shock weapons, delivering a rapid barrage of unguided but devastating rockets across a large area, destroying the enemy before they even have a chance to seek cover or retreat. But then rocket artillery was used as a low accuracy area of effect weapon compared to conventional gun artillery, which was more accurate at the time and able to reload more quickly. However, the rise of guided rocket munitions in recent years has turned this equation on its head, and now rocket artillery is often more accurate than conventional artillery. HIMARS is an exemplar of this type of rocket artillery. Its accuracy, combined with the fact that common types of rockets used by the HIMARS have a range of about twice that of conventional 155mm artillery, means that modern rocket artillery will give the Australian Army the ability to deliver highly destructive surgical strikes to an opponent well behind their front lines. HIMARS is also air mobile, capable of being transported by either the C-17 Globemaster or the C-130 Hercules. On the battlefield, HIMARS is capable of undertaking a variety of roles, including destroying high-value point targets, suppression, and counter battery fires. The high accuracy of HIMARS allows the system to be used in urban environments with a low risk of collateral damage. The accuracy also means it can undertake danger close fire support mission to help out friendly troops in combat, safely hitting targets within 200 meters of our soldiers. HIMARS has been in service for about 20 years. It got its baptism of fire in the War on Terror, seeing service in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. However, it was the Russian invasion of Ukraine where HIMARS really had its opportunity to shine. Since the Russian invasion, there has been a rush on countries trying to acquire HIMARS or increase the number of systems they have. In the last few years, the US has approved sales of HIMARS to 8 countries, including Australia. This does mean, however, that the increase in demand has also increased the amount of time it takes for the US to deliver HIMARS. Australia has been using a variety of rocket munitions with HIMARS, but the main focus will be on the guided multiple launch rocket system. These guided rockets have a range of up to around 90 kilometers and warheads of 90 kg of high explosives. This is close to 10 times the amount of high explosives that a standard 155mm artillery shell carries, giving you an idea of the destructive power of just one of these rockets. Australia is also a partner to the Precision Strike Missile, or PRISM program, or PRSM. Mention in the comments section down below which one you think it is. The PRSM is a short-range ballistic missile. The current first increment of the PRSM is a surface-to-surface missile designed to be used against stationary targets and has a range of 500 kilometers. However, later increments of the PRSM will have a range of more than 500 kilometers and will be able to engage ships and moving targets. What is the Strikemaster? Australia is definitely getting HIMARS, but the other platform we need to talk about is the Strikemaster, which is under serious consideration as an anti-ship option for Phase 2 of Land 8113. The Strikemaster consists of a pair of naval strike missiles, or NSMs, mounted on one of those Australian workhorses, a good old Bushmaster protected mobility vehicle. The NSM has a range of around 250 kilometers and has a more modest capability than the Precision Strike Missile, but it still has the advantage of being much cheaper. While the Strikemaster itself would be a brand new platform for the Australian Army, the Naval Strike Missile is actually already in use with the Royal Australian Navy. One advantage that the NSM has over the PRSM is that it is reportedly very stealthy. Its design and composite materials, as well as its ability to skim just above the surface of the water, makes it hard to detect. Target ships will only have a very short period of time to try and engage an incoming NSM, and the NSM is programmed to take evasive maneuvers as it approaches its target, making it harder to defeat. Specifications. When talking about specifications, it is important to remember that HIMARS is a whole rocket artillery system, and the type of rocket HIMARS is firing will have a massive impact on things like range and accuracy. However, talking about the launcher system and chassis, the M142 HIMARS weighs just over 16 tons with a length of 7 meters and a width of 2.4 meters and a height of 3.2 meters. The chassis itself is a 5-ton wheeled medium tactical vehicle with an armored cab for crew protection. Each unit has a crew of 3, an operational range of 480 kilometers, and a maximum speed of 85 kilometers an hour. The launcher system can traverse 360 degrees and can hold 6 of the smaller GMLRS rockets or 2 of the larger Precision Strike Missiles. As mentioned, range and accuracy depend on what rockets HIMARS is firing, but the GMLRS has a range of up to around about 90 kilometers, while the current version of the PRSM has a range of up to 500 kilometers. The accuracy of the system is reportedly extremely high, being able to hit targets within 1 meter of aiming. The exact specs on the Strikemaster haven't yet been released, but what we do know is that it would consist of a launcher system capable of carrying 2 NSMs fitted onto a Bushmaster. The Bushmaster itself has a longer range and is more heavily armoured than the HIMARS truck chassis. Similar to HIMARS, the Strikemaster would be able to be transported on a variety of aircraft and landing craft, making it easy to deploy around Australia's coast or to the islands to our north. Procurement. In May 2022, the US government approved the sale of 20 HIMARS to Australia and various associated rocket munitions. It was estimated to have been in the vicinity of around about $500 million. However, the Defence Strategic Review released in April 2023 recommended that Australia both expand and accelerate our HIMARS acquisition. In response, the Australian government soon tipped in another $1.5 billion to order 22 more HIMARS units and associated munitions. The first HIMARS are due to arrive in Australia in early 2025, so around about now when we filmed this video, with the last of the 42 units scheduled to be delivered by 2027. In December 2024, the Australian government approved phase 2 of the Land 8113, which as mentioned, will see us choosing between acquiring more HIMARS or the Strikemaster for a second long-range fires regiment. The timeline for phase 2 isn't clear, but it is expected that the Australian government will make a decision on which system to go with by the end of 2025. I do think that the ships off the coast of Sydney will make this a lot clearer decision for the Australian government, given that they are within 300 kilometres of our shore, and having naval strike capacity beyond this range I think would be highly beneficial for the Australian Army. Local manufacturing of rockets. While HIMARS units themselves will be produced in the US by Lockheed Martin, Australia will produce GMLRS rounds here in partnership with Lockheed Martin. Initially, this will consist of GMLRS rounds being assembled from imported kits, which is expected to start this year. However, Lockheed Martin and Defence will build a facility which will produce GMLRS rounds and more Australian components, including solid rocket motors and explosive warheads produced by Thales, Australia. This facility is scheduled to be completed by 2029 and will produce up to 4,000 GMLRS rockets per year. In contrast with the HIMARS, the Strikemaster would have comparatively more Australian content, with the Bushmaster chassis being produced in Australia by Thales. While the Naval Strike Missile is currently being manufactured in Norway, in August 2024, the Australian government announced that Kongsberg Defence Australia will build a factory in Newcastle to produce the NSMs, as well as the Joint Strike Missile for the Royal Australian Air Force. Manufacturing of the missiles is expected to commence there from 2027. The Strikemaster or more HIMARS? It's a tough decision. On one hand, within the Army itself, it seems like more HIMARS would be the preferred option, given it is a proven platform which has performed extremely well in combat, as well as having the versatility of firing a variety of different types of rocket munitions. However, the Australian government appears to have concerns about both the high cost of the HIMARS as well as the long acquisition times, given how many other nations have also ordered HIMARS. The Australian government is also considering the fact that the Strikemaster will have more local content and that Australia will have more sovereign control over the technology in that system. The good news is that potentially we could do both. Land 8113 Phase 2 is all about acquiring an anti-ship capability for the Army. One option would be to go with the Strikemaster for this and give the Australian Army another system to work with, but at the same time continue with the acquisition of later iteration PRSMs for HIMARS, which are capable of engaging moving targets and ships at longer ranges. This would result in the Australian Army being able to engage enemy ships with both the Strikemaster, which is specialised for its stealthy anti-shipping role, and also have HIMARS able to support with its longer range precision strike missiles. So back to our question at the start of the video. Could these long-range fire capabilities have potentially engaged the Chinese warships off Sydney in the event of a conflict? Well, for the Strikemaster, the ships were probably right on the edge of the effective range for the NSM. However, future iterations of the precision strike missile launched by HIMARS would definitely have the range to engage these warships and completely blow them out of the water. But what do you think? Is the Strikemaster a better option, or are HIMARS the safe bet? Are there any other capabilities that would do a better job than either of these? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Are you a subscriber to the channel? Are you sure? Can you please check? We've recently hit 20,000 subscribers and I've got a big push to get us up to 30,000. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you left a like and shared it with a friend. That's it for today. I'm Pikos, and we've been talking tactics.